Hey guys, Andy here from Mediocre Hobbies, and I'm coming at you with a service announcement. Is that what I would say? I don't know. So there's been a lot of speculation around the return of some of the resin kits and stuff for Warhammer the Old World, and people have this misconception about the quality of Games Workshop resins. Now, that misconception is in no way not founded. Basically, when Finecast came out, which got nicknamed Failcast for a reason, honestly, you would get maybe 1 in 5 sculpts were beautiful and the other 4 were utterly atrocious. Some miniatures didn't even translate well at all across into the resin. I don't think I've ever seen a squad of the Dark Eldar Incubi come out nice once. They just, all those spikes, all those things, they just did not work at all. And it was a kind of a fix-all. At the time, I think it was China bought up the entire world supply of tin, which obviously drove the price of it way high. Games Workshop couldn't afford to then use that to produce their miniatures, so they had this low-cost form of resin that they could pour straight into their metal molds and create those ones. And obviously we all had horrible experiences with those particular miniatures, at least if you're old enough to be around when they were out. And now the modern hobbyist is so used to their entire armies from head to toe being plastic, and that is just not the case anymore. We do not have to struggle with air bubbles or warpages or anything like that. And we're in a very lucky state with that. Now, with Warhammer the Old World, we are going back and we are bringing a ton of old miniatures back. And obviously some of these miniatures are coming back in resin, which have people concerned. The thing is, it's not the same resin as was used in the Forge World miniatures. It is the new, sorry, not the same resin as used in the Finecast ones. It is the new Forge World resin. I've been wanting to show you guys the difference between those two for quite some time now, but I did not have the means to do it. Just holding it up to my normal cameras did not work at all. And that's when this company reached out to me, BenQ, and they offered to send me this webcam. And originally I was going to turn it down because I don't particularly need any more webcams. I think I have about 7 of them now. But I decided to take a look at their specs and watch a couple of videos of other people talking about this thing. And the thing that grabbed my attention the most was the 515 magnification lens. And I've seen how close some people could get to specific parts on like circuit boards and other things like that. And I thought that might be a really useful tool for me in video creation from time to time. And then this idea popped into my head that I would be finally able to show you guys the difference between Finecast resin and the new Forge World resin. So that's what I'm going to do in today's video. At the very beginning of the video, I'm going to show you guys some very up close images of some old Forge World resin, the quality of it or the lack of quality of it. And then I'm going to show you one of the newer sculpts. I am going to show you the new Bretonnian Damsel on foot miniature. Beautiful piece. And I'm going to show you the difference under a 15 times microscope, magnification lens, one of these fancy words, and show you just how different it can be. So hopefully you guys are going to find that interesting. I'm also going to spend the second half of the video painting up the Bretonnian Damsel and showing you how beautiful she will turn out because it is such a beautiful sculpt. So if this is something that you find interesting, please let me know, because I haven't done anything like this before, but I did want to try and dissuade some of the misconceptions people had. If you were looking at any miniatures that are resin that are made for Blood Bowl, any ones that are made for Necromunda, any ones that are made for the Old World, or anything like that, the specialist games all seems to have been given the treatment of getting this beautiful new cast of resin. So don't be dissuaded to purchase it. Or at least that's how I feel. Maybe by the end of this video you will feel the same, or maybe you'll have other concerns. And if you do, please share them in the comments below so we can get a bit of a dialogue going and we can talk through any issues you think you may be having. Okay, without further ado guys, let's get into the video. So this is one of the older sculpts and the older resins that I was talking about. This is a Leopold the Black miniature, which is a Warhammer Forge miniature from back in the day. It's not actually that old. Warhammer Forge didn't really release a lot of miniatures. And yeah, this guy actually goes for kind of crazy money on eBay. He's quite a rare piece. And I just wanted to show you as much as possible some of the qualities that you can see in the resin. So for instance, the details in his chainmail on the neck, all the chainmail links are all molded together. Nothing is basically straight lines. Everything is kind of wonky and lots of mold slips. And like this thing is supposed to have lots of filigree and it all just kind of blends in from one area to another. Obviously, lots of like, look at his face. Oh my God. So his face is a travesty. Like absolutely shocking. I don't know why. I don't know what he's trying to do with his face. I don't know why he's got such big ears. I don't know why his, like, look at that. You can see all the little spots and little gaps, and are those his eyebrows, or is that? And this is the experience that so many people have with old resin miniatures and old like this is supposed to be a peacock. It looks like a pterodactyl. It looks awful. does say Leopold on the thing, as is Leopold the Black. Even this, I don't mind so much. Like, I'm a kind of person that has a love of miniatures for nostalgia's sake. So I will paint up this Leopold the Black to the best of my abilities, and I will feature him in my border prints kind of Warhammer Empire army. And I'm sure I will do a nice enough job, and I'll be quite proud of him at the end of the day. But obviously a lot of people are used to a lot finer miniatures these days. Like, look at the strands of hair on the tail. It's so bad. So they're kind of like, I don't want to say spoiled, but like, you deserve nice miniatures, especially with the price that you pay for miniatures these days. And the quality that you're used to when it comes to plastic is shot. They're just so good. The quality is insane. Here's an old Night Goblin command set from Warhammer Forge as well. I actually built the B and painted the BSB for this for a battle report I did a few weeks ago. But I haven't built the Sorcerer or the War Boss on. Here's me putting the 15 times zoom lens on and having a look at some of the parts of him. So for instance, look at this mold slip. Somebody took this out of a mold, seen that kind of slip, thought it was okay, put it in a box and sent it out. Like, ridiculous. Like, it's just a disgrace. And the price of the model as well, like, these command sets are still were coming back and still will be quite expensive. So I'm wondering, will they take these molds and cast them in the new Forge World resin, or are these molds just kind of too old and stuff for that now? And this is obviously where the worry comes from. People who have experienced these miniatures are online right now giving out about the fact that Games Workshop is bringing models back in resin, and that if you're going to pay those kind of prices, you should get those kind of quality miniatures. And I understand that frustration and that fear, but I do think a lot of that frustration and a lot of that fear is unwarranted, because Games Workshop has moved over to a new type of resin, and it's not a new thing. I realized it quite a few years ago when I got my Knights of Dol Amroth on foot. Those Swan Knights, those things came to me, and as I was building them, I was like, what is this resin? What is this quality? The detail is incredible. And I realized that there was a new batch of resin that they were using. And that new batch of resin, or that new design of resin, or whatever you want to call it, is what they are using for the new range of miniatures. Case and point, this unbelievable damsel miniature. Sorry, here's me playing around with the little dial thingy on this new camera. Pretty cool. A lot of fun. But anyway, so here she is, and this is why I needed the new camera and the new zoom. So I can zoom in and out with this particular piece, but I can't show you the real detail of the miniature from this kind of point of view. And that's why adding the lens over the top of it to give me that 15 times zoom that this webcam gives me is the only way I was going to be able to make this video. Because obviously it all zoomed in now. But this is the quality of the new resin. Look how perfect it is. Everything is super sharp and super deep. Her face, this face is like 3 mil high and 3 mil across. It is tiny. Every detail is perfect. Every crisp, every pearl going across her headdress, the fleur-de-lis on her forehead. Look at the designs cut out of the miniature so that she sits perfectly flush with the body. And these cuts are going to be perfect every single time with every single cast. It is all super smooth or super sharp. Look at the hand holding the cup. Like, the hand on Leopold holding his riding crop was atrocious. And then you've got the likes of this, the way she's delicately handling the goblet, and so you can drink out of the lady's water, and it's just flawless. Some detail on the torso, the way the fabric folds and creases around her body is just so good. She's got the ringlets, the armor ringlets, and all the detail and stuff like that. And of course, the folds in the back, perfect. And then obviously all the piping going down the side of the cape. And then obviously all the extra details that go around it. So these are the kind of this is why I wanted to show you guys what the current quality of resin is. These are the miniatures you are buying. So please don't mistake the old format of resin for the new format of resin. Don't think you are going to get fine cast quality miniatures if you order the new resin one. Here's new resin, old resin. Like, atrocious. New resin, perfectly sculpted cheekbones, nose, those eyes, easy to paint. I don't even know what that nose is. It's super sharp and super awful, atrocious. New resin, beautiful. hopefully that has helped a little bit. Let's talk about the camera that I used to film this before we get into painting. Okay guys, I thought we'd take a little break in the video there just to talk about this particular piece for a minute or two, as this was very kindly sent to me for free for review by the company. So it is just basically a high quality webcam. All the webcams I have now are only about the kind of 70 to 80 euro mark. So they're not very high quality. So it is nice to have something a little bit extra special in my hands. It has, like I said on the box, auto switch mode. It's got 3 camera mode. It's got AI noise reduction. That's quite useful. I always get kind of bad background noise as the high ceilings in my room are a bit of a disaster. It's got a 244p privacy share. It's got this awesome remote control. This is why it's going to replace my standard webcam for doing my streaming and stuff like that. It's basically got a stream deck on it, taking pictures, muting myself, zooming in and out. And it's a nice, very, very sleek sliding thing for zooming in and out. And as for the by 15 zoom, it's as easy as removing the magnetized kind of zoom filter that it has. Hopefully keeping this thing safe and not losing it, which is something that I can do. Sticking it back on when you need it. It has a built-in light and a pause button. So as a tool, really enjoyed it. Really nice camera. So like I said, if you're interested, I will leave links in the description below. Please go and check them out for yourself if you're looking for a high quality webcam. Now, so that I can put my money where my mouth is, I am going to show you a very brief and fast description of me painting up this beautiful damsel miniature. I sprayed her black and then sprayed her grey sear, as I do traditionally, to get miniatures ready for applying contrast and layering and metallics and all those other bits and pieces. So, like I said, I'm not going to go through my steps on exactly how I painted this damsel. If that's something that you are looking for and what you wanted to get out of this video, please let me know in the comments below. I have filmed all of the steps of this miniature properly, just in case in the future somebody did want my step-by-step guide on how I went about painting her. If you want to do that, I can do another cut of this video and just show you a full-on painting video for the damsel. That's totally fine by me. But as it stands, I just went through the normal thing. I used contrast paints to apply all the base coats to this miniature, apart from the metallics. I just used a bit of Retributed Armor and Lead Belcher for those. But other than that, I used the grey sear as the base coat for her dress. So the normal spray, I didn't add anything else on that. And also the dress goes up over her veil on the back of her head. I don't know what the nun's kind of veil thing is called. But that piece across the back of the head is also going to be left grey sear. And I'm going to let the shade add the kind of tones and colors I want into that, which I thought was quite a clever thing to do. And it's a thing that I've done a couple of times before. Things like Bretonian horses and the like get done with that. And as you can see, she is beautiful. All the details are flawless. I love the scenic base that she's standing on. She has like a bunch of rubbles and rock, and then she has this beautiful big flower that she's almost like stepping off of, which just gives you the idea of how much kind of life, magic, and energy is flowing around this awesome model. And that's another kind of thing that would just not be possible with Finecast. If you were to cast this model in that old school resin and left it in this kind of pose, over time, the tiny bit of extra weight leaning her forward would cause those flowers to bend. And before you know it, you would be leaning really far forward. I have had that happen with a multitude of old Finecast miniatures. That's not something that I am worried about with something like her. With those grey sear bits left blank, this is where I came in with almost like a turquoisey shade. And I applied this all over the miniature. This added a perfect base coat for her cloth. And as you know, the magic and the energy from a damsel comes from the lore of life, basically like wood elf magic, if you will, if you believe the old stories. So I did want to have this kind of weird tinge of green going through all the bits and pieces. And then after that, all I used was some kind of off-white greys to highlight up her dress and her inner cape and outer cape and all those bits and pieces. And it really was just like a one coat highlight on top of this, and I loved the result. I was super pleased that my gamble had paid off by leaving a grey sear and then just throwing a contrast on top of it. Not only has Games Workshop not used Finecast, so for instance, if you take Tomb Kings as an example, you have the Ushapti with great weapons, which they are casting back in metal. So it's cast in white model, mostly tin, which is great because obviously the Finecast versions of them were horrible. Those miniatures have so much detail with all like little triangle details and all that, all the like bandages wrapped around their arms, which would blend together. Awful. Now the Ushapti with great bows were never cast in metal. They were only ever brought out when Games Workshop was in their Finecast phase. So you could only get them in Finecast, and they were awful. Whereas now when they've gone back to remaking them, they're making them in metal. So now for the first time ever, we get Ushabtis with great bows cast in white metal, which is something that I'm really excited about and I think is a very cool step in the right direction. I have, I think, 6 of them in fine cast, and I will be replacing them with 6 metal ones because I just think it's a far superior medium, unless they were going to be cast in this new resin, which I don't think they ever were going to. Hopefully this video is making some amount of sense and it's not just the mad ramblings of someone who is excited about the old world and wants to stop people being discouraged from getting bits and pieces, especially the resin bits and pieces. Hopefully the quality of this miniature is shining through. I know my channel is called Mediocre Hobbies and I am a mediocre painter at best. And I know that I'm probably not the best one to show off miniatures like this. Or am I the best person? I mean, obviously, if I was some sort of crazy competition level painter, then I could make any model look good. Or I suppose as an average painter, if I can make this model look good, it's more of a reflection on the sculpt and the material than it is the skill of a painter. So perhaps I'm exactly the right person to show off this particular style. Like I said, I had a really good time painting her up. Whereas I know that I'm not going to have a good time painting up Leopold the Black. I know that's going to be an atrocious undertaking. How the hell am I going to paint up that pterodactyl peacock on his paneled armor of the horse? How am I going to paint those hands? How am I going to paint that face and make it look good and not just this weird, pointy, misformed, misshapen thing? I think he's supposed to have like one eyebrow raised as he's looking to the horizon. I don't know how to fix it. And that's the experience a lot of people are trying to avoid. Well, new resin miniatures do avoid all those issues. So for instance, I currently cannot get my hands on the new Bretonnian BSB because he is sold out. And I can't get my hands on the new Questing Knight on foot because he is sold out. But I have no qualms about getting my hands on them. And I'm not worried about getting those miniatures and worried about the quality. I know they're going to be as beautiful as this damsel. Here's a little fun thing. I took some Green Stuff World clear resin, mixed it with a bit of blue glaze. Some old games which I paint they don't actually sell anymore. Mix it together and I put a few drops of this into the damsel's cup as if she's got this really pure kind of like a water boy-esque water in her cup, and then I just use the UV torch to cure that resin, just adding an extra tiny bit of detail, a little bit of fun just to really finish off the piece. And from here I'll go into a quick image of the actual finished damsel. So this is the finished damsel, and like I said, I was even impressed by my own painting for this miniature, and I don't think it's down to my ability. Like I said, the model is so well sculpted and the casting is so good, which made it an absolute joy to paint up. So I'm super happy with the results. I'm definitely going to be adding this to my shelf of finished painted Bretonnian miniatures. Here's a couple of still images to give you an example of what she might look like on the table. Please do let me know in the comments below what you thought about this video, good or bad. I do want to hear whether these are the kind of videos you would like to see in the future, or whether you think I should just stick to painting and gaming videos. Okay guys, and there we have it. My new Bretonnian damsel on foot is finished off. I'm super proud of this one. I think she turned out great. Obviously with this much flat flowing material, it's kind of worrying to get it all done and look smooth and look sharp, but I think I pulled it off. I'm super pleased with her. I don't actually have a Bretonnian damsel on foot in any of my current lists, so now I'm going to have to change something around, create a list just so I get to use her in a game soon. As goes the product from today's video, which is the sponsor, BenQ. Thank you very much for sending out this webcam. What can I say? As a webcam, it's awesome, high quality, great noise, 244p, it's pretty good, but the magnification lens is definitely the key feature for me. That's something that I will keep bringing me back to this thing for my video making pleasure. If you guys are interested in checking that out, I will of course leave links down below. You can check this out for yourself, and maybe it is a tool that you can also find useful in the near future. All right guys, thank you so much for sticking around at the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you give the video a like. Ask me any questions you want in the comments below, and I will get back to each and every one of you guys. And make sure that you subscribe to the channel to see more hobby goodness. I will see you guys in the next video.